and welcome to Mind Your Mind podcast. Here in Mind Your Mind podcast, we talk about life, mind, universe, everything, and absolutely nothing at all. My name is Ozan Koju, and I'm Malik. How are you doing today?
Hi, Ozan. And hi, everyone who's listening to us. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm good.
It's good to hear you're shining again, and we have a very interesting topic today, actually. I think it's gonna be kind of like a continuation from the last episode. What we discussed in the last one, go check it out. It was guilt. So we touched a lot of different types of guilt. Why do we have guilt, and what to do when that emotion comes in. It was really intense way to start the season. But now we're gonna go on a similar path, I would say. And we already touched this one, but I think it requires its own episode because it's such an important topic and it's very much overlooked. It is detachment. Attachment and detachment. Both of them. Opposite, related.
With a touch of, we are going to also touch upon boundaries, setting healthy boundaries, and we are going to touch upon that as well. So detachment and boundaries, maybe.
Exactly. Well, how I see, actually, it is such a related topic to guilt because there's so much guilt that comes out of the detachment, and it is an act that is such a natural part of a human being because we live in a huge society. We are crazy about who we are, our identity. We are crazy about the people we have around, family, friends, colleagues, etc. And we have all the materials that belong to us, our house, our car, our things, my necklace, my sweater, everything. It is such a thin line of appreciating some things and some people and being attached to them. And we don't really see these points because we don't think about attachment and detachment so much. I think we are a bit not so conscious about it. And this is what we want to discuss today because we have a lot of guilt that is inside us coming from the need to be detached. And this is creating some anxiety in us. And we never know when to detach and when to not. But let's first start with detachment. What is detachment for you, Henna?
Right. Okay. So as you said, there comes a lot of guilt when we start detaching. I would not really agree with you on that because what I feel detachment is, it's a healthy concept. It's a way of, I don't think it as a way of not choosing others. I think of it as a way of choosing myself, prioritizing myself, my well-being, my mental health. And I think that's how it should be at the first place. That's how I think the boundaries can help us detach better. Uh, Detachment, in my opinion, is not the lack of love, but of course, lack of attachment. Attachment is not necessarily love, not necessarily uh, the the feeling of you know affection towards the other person. You can love them, but you can still be emotionally detached. You can still choose yourself over them. When it comes to mental health, I think for me detachment is more of a personal well-being concept than a than a considering yourself as a social animal. You feel that if you're detaching yourself, you are not socially viable. I don't really agree with that. I would really love to know what you think.
Actually, I like the point what you made with the attachment and love, and they are not the same thing. I think that's a very important distinction that that we need to make, because we confuse those two sometimes. We feel like, or there's this belief that if we love someone, we must be attached to the person or the things, right? But actually, you made a really good point there. Actually, I think attachment kind of hurts the concept of love, because that brings the need to the equation. Uh, and that actually kind of blinds you, and you really don't feel love, and you feel like you need something, right? Like,
Right.
and if we make that distinction, I think it becomes a little easier. So we can love things and we can love people, but we
And
don't have to be
without
attached to them
being needy,
without being
without
needy.
them owning you. You own yourself. uh, I think that a very strong example can be your relationship with your mobile phone. We forget that we own it, and it starts owning us. That's a really toxic relationship that we have with our devices. uh, Same way it can be with people, with situations. When we absorb everything so much and start overthinking, start being overstimulated, and at the cost of our mental health, at the cost of our own well-being, uh, I think that is what attachment is, and that really needs to go away. And the antidote for that is, of course, detachment. uh, Detachment is power. It is having your own, owning yourself and being powerful in a way that you have the control on yourself, not giving away control, not giving away the charge to the other people of your own life, of your own situation, of your own responsibilities. I think it's about taking charge of yourself.
I like the fact that you say attachment is power. It did remind me of a book, a great book called Power versus Force, from David R. Hawkins, one of the best authors ever. Uh, and actually, there it's talking about the universal, how the universe works and how you get basically what you're craving for. And there is a force, like you're trying to force something, and you have the need to control things, events, people, what happens to other people, and things like that. And there's the power, and power comes out of surrendering actually to the flow of the universe from the detachment. And
Right.
when we also look at any event, actually, not even like if you don't even think about people, any event, we know that so small part of the things that happen around us actually within our control. But when we are attached to the event outcome, what's going to come as a result of that event, we are just trying to force our way around. We are trying to figure out ways, but it's not working out. It's just such a stress within the body. It's just such a stress within the soul. It's a soul crushing experience that you try and you try and you try and you try, and things don't happen the way that you want to. It's the need to control. And when you
Absolutely.
detach, you basically surrender yourself to the flow of the universe. And it's not being passive, or it's not just getting away from people or things. It is knowing what is your impact, what impact can you do in that situation. And you have choices to act, you have choices to respond, and you do those, but then you let
Without
the things
worrying
be.
about what is coming next.
And it's such a powerful emotion. It is like, even in your body, when you let things be, how easy it is to be, how relaxed you become, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Detaching from outcomes, as you said, or even from your possessions, uh, or even from your past, past events that continuously haunt us, uh, make us feel the feeling of regret or repent on them. Detachment also from expectations, majorly. I think all this can lead to a greater sense of inner peace and freedom. Uh, but The challenge is how you do it. And what I really feel is you can start by setting healthy boundaries. And that's how I think both things are so closely knit and connected. Like, if you are setting healthy boundaries, it is easier for you to detach. And vice versa. If you are feeling confident in yourself, and you don't have toxic attachments uh, with you, it is easier to set better, stronger boundaries. So I think both of them, both the concepts go really hand in hand.
I do agree with the concept of boundaries. I guess like, what is that boundary? Is that what we need to really figure out? But you know, I agree in a way that your impact is still limited in things. We usually have attachment towards whatever is happening that we cannot do anything about. For example, family. You know, uh, when they're struggling, you are struggling, and you want to do something about it. But not always what you do will be the best option. When we have that attachment and we don't have the boundary because we are crystal focused on one point, person, thing, whatever, and we are not seeing the big picture. And that's why we don't have boundaries, because we, as us, we try to control everything. But we don't see, we lack the vision. Think about a chess game, and you are one of the pawns. You can go and try to check, but you won't be able to. But that is you trying to control the situation. You will definitely fail, 100% fail, and you will also hurt your whole team. In
Right?
order to play correctly, you have to see all the pieces, right? You have to see what all the pieces are doing. Or any game, like in a football, you can just try to go and shoot yourself, but you have teammates waiting. If you want to win the game, you need to pass. You need to see whoever is there.
Correct.
And when we have that attachment that we must do something about it, then we don't have that knowledge. We are not drawing the boundary of what we should do and what we should let others do, because we are focused. And once you let it go, just let it go, you know that what you do, the impact of what you will have, is not really like a the best solution ever. Then you can actually draw the boundaries, because you know that my action here will not do good, or my action here will hurt me or others, and in the long term, it's not good. So then, of course, you can draw the boundary.
Yes, I think it also, you raised a very good point there, and it made me think that uh, setting boundaries also involves you to be so strong and self aware of your needs, your wants, your values. If you know yourself well, you know what works for you, what doesn't work for you. You know your limits. Uh, I think I think that is what makes you set better and healthy boundaries. Uh, so it only adds to your personality. It only adds to your personal growth. Uh, an example of a normal healthy boundary can be, I will not check my emails after work hours, or I will not shout in an argument. uh, I will not raise my voice in an argument, or these are boundaries, and they come from a place where you are so self-aware about yourself that I tend to raise my voice when I am in a stressful situation. So now I'm setting a boundary for myself. I will not shout when I'm triggered. Same way, I tend to I feel I'm a workaholic and I need to uh, create situations where I can come out of that. uh, so I'm going to set a boundary that I'm not going to check my office email or anything, my office contacts or anything on my personal device after work hours. So these are all examples of boundaries, and the best part is that they are coming from a place of self awareness.
Yeah, exactly. And awareness that you might be attached to some things. Like you gave a good example of working, right? So actually, working is a point that many people are somehow attached to. Um, they really define themselves. Their identity is their title at work. Therefore, like however they perform in the work or the impact they make in the work, they define it with themselves, and that is a red flag of attachment. And when that happens, it's leading directly to burnout, and I've been there myself as well. Uh, because at that point, you are what you do. There's this toxic culture in capitalism, like you are what you do. You are as good as how good you do your job. You are your title. When someone asks, who are you say your job. And this is a terrible and very
I
toxic
know.
identification.
This is this
Then,
is
of course,
I think it's like a pandemic.
it
It's
is, it
everywhere.
is, but it is so normalized. And in that case, you will not be able to realize how attached you are to your work. You can lose it in a second. In a second, it is just one thing in your life. And people don't realize this thing. People just go and go and go and burn themselves out. But once you realize it is just one part of what you do right now, it is not
And
who you are.
exactly. And most people would also realize this, but at the same time, they will counter this by saying that we are helpless. It's the culture, This is how it is always. And that's where the boundary setting needs to come in place. That you realize some things, but you are not able to help yourself come out of it. So that's where you need to set a boundary so that you can easily come out of it. If not easily at first, but at least your boundary is going to act as a tool to help you, to remind you every time that you know you are crossing it, you are crossing a line here.
Exactly. Do you know how I learned this point regarding the work actually? I have seen actually two people pass away in the companies that I work with. Both of them were replaced next day. We are sorry. Can you take his job? Simple as that.
That's, yeah, exactly.
That is how
It's
the work goes. But for you, it is just one thing that you do sometimes right
This
now.
is your value at your workplace. You are just a position which needs to be
Exactly.
filled.
Exactly. This is just transactional thing. Most of the things are just transactional things. That's why we need to be aware of this, how attached we are to things, and just
Mhm,
put things into their place. Work is just work.
mhm,
You sometimes you add value there. It's not
mhm.
like you shouldn't care about it. Of course, you care about it. You add the value there, but put it into the place because
Right,
tomorrow you can do something different. Also, people, every relationship that we have, you can love people. That's one thing, but you don't have to be attached. Everything is temporary. We are
right.
not here forever.
Yeah, if you're setting healthy boundaries in a relationship, I think it only fosters more mutual respect because it is promoting limited interaction, it is promoting balanced interaction, and therefore there is more mutual respect. Which is what I feel, when you are talking every day, all the time, you're available to them, you kind of lose your self respect in front of them. And they start losing theirs because you are over available. You're always
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we need to find a right balance. And setting a boundary is not a hard and fast rule. It's not that, like, that if I have promised myself that I'm not going to give more than an hour to them, it can change on the days when they need you more. It can change. I mean, it good boundaries are flexible. They are not rigid. They should be strong but not rigid. I think I made a great statement there.
You made a great statement there.
Yeah,
Strong but not rigid. Yeah.
I'm gonna write this down. So, healthy boundaries should be strong, not rigid.
Yes. It should be flexible. That's how it is. Sometimes people need more of you, but sometimes you need more of yourself as well. Like that's an important realization to make. And it's important to draw your boundaries about how much you want to expose yourself. That's one thing. But also behavior as well. Like if I'm doing something that disturbs you, and then you just take it because you care about me, you don't say anything, you just take it, and inside you that you will have some sort of anger towards me that will build up and up and up and up and up, and then 2 years later you're gonna crash into me and you're gonna hate me. And
And
it's
I think
stronger if you say something
it's okay
right now.
to expect. Yeah, I mean, you should expect resistance from the other person. You should expect a reaction from the other person, because you know that is kind of a signal uh, that you were already giving too much. You
Yeah.
were already that just makes you feel better about setting a boundary. Because if it is, if your need to have your own personal well-being is bothering the other person, then there was definitely a need to set this up.
Yeah. And it's already too late. But you
Right. I
see
mean,
how important is it's just pure communication there. The world will be such a calm place if everybody could throw their boundaries and they were open and honest about what they're feeling towards each other.
yes. And I think very, very important is when you are communicating that you want to set this boundary, you should be assertive and not apologetic.
Oh yeah,
In in
that's a
in
good point.
in bold, I would like to
Yeah.
say that. No, it should not sound apologetic, because if you're putting yourself first, why are you sorry about it?
As soon as you apologize, you are putting yourself under.
And you are giving the other person power to emotionally manipulate you.
Exactly. And that leads to guilt. That leads to the emotion of guilt. Saying sorry is directly implanting the emotion of guilt within you. The words impact your feelings, right?
Right. You are guilty about choosing you over them.
Exactly. Exactly, like it's a mistake. But it is not. And of course, I'm not saying like be a terrible friend and never call your friend unless you need them, because that's not what we are talking about here. But what we were talking about is like give to people, give your time, share whatever you have. But if you share all of it, they're not gonna have more of it, and you're gonna be pissed off to
Right.
everybody. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think it's about feeling more. It's about uh, enhancing your personality, because you are allowing your feelings to come in. Uh, there is a very there's a concept called avoidant detachment, which is an unhealthy form of detachment. Avoidant detachment is something that which you started with. You said that when guilt comes out of uh, being detached, I think it happens when you are operating with an energy of fear. you are trying to create emotional barriers around you so that you do not feel hurt, so that you can prevent emotional damage. So you just start creating distance from people. And I remember as kids, sometimes, in school, uh, I remember some of my friends who we just had a normal fight, and our best friends became our worst enemies. uh, just childish behavior, and then suddenly we started saying, I'm not going to trust anyone now. I can't trust anyone because I have been hurt, I have been wronged. Now this is an example of an immature thought, because uh, now when you are saying that you have lack of trust, you basically have fear of intimacy, and this is only going to make you struggle to form deep and meaningful relationships, which are anyway coming your way. I think avoidant detachment blocks your personal growth because you start suppressing your feelings, you start ignoring your feelings. And that's when you don't let yourself grow. That's when you don't, it's lack of self awareness. Or maybe, it's like, you're suppressing what you know about yourself.
It reminds me a lot of being attached to the person, you know, even like talked about, the trusting people. But if you go and approach a person with the desire to be so much connected that I can fully trust this person, that you're not really getting the vibe of that person. You're not really connecting. You are sticking and hoping that they will be the person and they will build that relationship. But do you see how uh how disturbing it is for also the other person? The
It
other
is
person might feel it as well.
making, it is making you less attractive, and you are actually repelling that person more.
Exactly, because you're not connecting at all. You are just sticking because you need it. You're attached. You want attachment. You don't want to build a strong connection. You want to attach yourself to this person.
Hmm.
Otherwise, if you just let it be, talk, learn about them, connect without the think to hope that they will like you, or without the thing that hope that you can trust this person, it will come naturally, won't it? Or maybe it won't, but still you're not needed. You don't need it, so you're not frustrated afterwards. You're just being together. You're just being in the same moment. You're just sharing the moment together. And that's connection.
Hmm. Yes, I agree. So I think the very first need of setting a boundary, or, and the idea of detaching yourself in a healthy way, is firstly knowing what you want, being clear about yourself, self awareness. That is your start point. And if you really know what you want, then give yourself permission to ask for it. No, that's where we all just, I think, we fail, because we know what we want. Just like you said, at work, uh, we know that, this kind of attachment is not good. It's toxic. It's hampering it's hampering my growth. It's affecting my well-being. It is taking away my time. It is killing my energy. It is whatnot. Now, but you are so afraid to ask for it. If you're so afraid to ask for a time off, you are so afraid. It's not because you are expecting resistance. Maybe you are expecting resistance from the other person, from your people, from your colleagues, from the bosses. But the first resistance comes from you, because you are so toxic. In a toxic fashion, you are attached to it. So I think it's very important to allow yourself to ask for it. And then, uh, maybe, yeah, yes. And of course, be unapologetic when you are asking for it. Don't be
Unapologetic.
sorry that you are asking for it. And I think we should be, then it's time to surrender. That's when it's time to surrender, because once you know yourself, you know that you are going to set a healthy boundary for yourself, even if the answer from there is a no. You know that you can meet your own needs when you are standing strong. So, like for instance, I want to lose weight, and I am tempted by everything that's cooked at home. Now, a boundary here that I can set for myself is that, uh, maybe, I'm not going to eat after I feel full. That's it. It can be as simple as that. I'm going to have everything, but in limit. I'm going to relish it, but I'm not going to overfeed myself, or, overstuff myself just because it's for one day. I'm not going to get it again. I'm not. So everything in limit, everything in balance. I think balance is the key word here.
Yeah,
And that's it. That is one example which I can think of, and I think that just sums it all up.
I agree with the balance. Everything in moderation is the best amount. So
Right.
there's this balance of uh, allowing things to happen and then doing things. Like also with the people, you shouldn't totally cut yourself from people, but you shouldn't give 100%. But there is this balance, there's moderation of how much you give and how much you need, because I think if you also like look at yourself with the same self-compassion as much as the compassion you have with others, then you're gonna see yourself that you're gonna give yourself that attention, that time, whatever you need. You're gonna give yourself that food because you're not gonna crave yourself because you know you deserve it. You're allowed to get some, but not so much. Simple as that. That balance is the most important thing here, I think. And there's so much power in there.
So true. So true. And same way in our relationships, when you are trying to emotionally detach yourself, do not consider it as abandoning love. Do not consider as being unkind to them. It's I think it's about reclaiming your power, reclaiming your control, and taking charge of your inner peace. Whatever makes you happy in the long run, not just in the short period of time, not just in the moment. I think that this is where you think more about your future than your present or your past.
Yeah. And that for long run, you need to be able to detach to see the long run, right? Like you need that understanding, you need that vision. And I think that's one of the things like attachment to me, it's really like holding on to things so much, holding on to moments, people, things, materials, identity, outcome of the event. And it's like zooming into one specific thing, what you are craving for. And that really, once you let go of that thing, it's like you can zoom out and see the whole thing. Uh, and I really think like the more you detach, you won't be
Mhm.
like more lonely because you are just detached from everything, but actually you are more connected to everyone. and everything, the whole universe, because your vision is enlightened.
Right.
Because you allow the universe to happen, and then you see everything as in one, and that's what gives you power in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more connection with the universe in order for you to feel that everything and everyone is one, and we are in the one beautiful universe. You need to be able to let go of one specific thing in there
Mm.
that you're holding on to.
Exactly. I at this point I just want to share a quote that is my favorite. I just keep reading it uh whenever I need a reason to give myself some emotional space. Uh so it goes like this. It's hard to figure out who you are and what you need most from your life if you spend most of your time trying to keep other people happy. So simple, but yet so difficult to implement on. So I think this is what we should keep reminding ourselves. Uh, if you need another reason to retire from people pleasing,
Yeah.
because if we spend all our time focused on what other people want, what other people are thinking of us, then we are only, uh, you know, we are only just giving away our opportunities to learn about ourselves.
Yeah, we are more attached to the perception other people have on us. We are less
Yes.
interested in ourselves, right?
And that is just making us less and less aware of what we want because we are ignoring it. We are simply
Yeah.
ignoring ourselves.
And you will not find yourself with that. You will not be yourself. Even whatever you will show to the other person will be what you want the other person to think of you. Uh, it's not yourself. You are basically playing a role of someone else who you think that they might like. And it's very exhausting, isn't it, to try to be someone else?
I know. It is. Who knows it better than me? I was a perpetual people pleaser earlier, so I can understand this really well. It again. I think it's about finding a balance. The goal is not only to think about yourself or only to think about others. It should not be like either this way or that way. The goal is to, I would say, expand your view enough to consider the part of the equation that you tend to ignore. So sometimes we can be so focused on ourselves also that we tend to ignore what the other people are feeling. And that is equally bad.
As being
Equally.
attached to yourself, your own
Yes,
identity, right? So,
exactly. That is toxic attachment to yourself.
yeah.
So I think it's the idea is to just expand your view, look at the bigger picture, and do everything in a balanced way.
Do everything in a balanced way. That's the thing. Yeah, because once you try so hard to detach from the other, then you attach yourself to this one. If you don't want others and you fully want to focus on yourself, then you attach to your own identity. So balance is the key here, as you say. So uh, just let go of everything. You let go of who you are and let go of who other people think that you are and let go of other people too. Once you let go, then you can actually focus in the moment because the connection is in the moment. The feelings are in the moment. The more you think about those things, uh, then less of your attention will be in the moment. So less connection you will make in the end.
And to uh, learn more about letting go, surrendering, and being in the present moment, listen to our other episodes
It just
with the same
connects so
name.
well together, right? It just connects by itself
Yeah.
naturally.
It I think all these concepts are very well connected. only when we go deep in them. At the superficial level, we all know the definition of what is present moment, what is surrender, what is detachment, what is boundaries, but nobody really tries to feel them beyond the definition. When you really dig deep, they are all having the same roots.
And they impact each other. We just talked about being in the moment versus guilt versus detachment. Here, surrendering.
Detachment is
Solitude, we talked about solitude. But
solitude.
they all like support each other.
Yes.
But in a way that one allows you to 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 go through the another one.
I
But
think
not having one is also blocking the other one, right?
if you take anyone seriously and try to make it work in your life, you are bound to trickle down to the other concept and feel strongly about it too.
Exactly. That's a beautiful ending.
I know, I know.
Yeah.
It it just it just makes all it just all makes so sense, when you finish it this way. You know that you have debated on or discussed something really meaningful.
Yeah. I put the links to the other videos here in the
Please do.
check them
Please
out.
do.
Check
Yeah.
them out. They're all connected. You're gonna be
Yeah.
fine as long as you let go, as long as you be in the moment, and as long as you think of yourself, your emotions, you realize them, you become aware of them, and then you just let go.
Correct. Well, thank you, Azan, for another amazing episode.
Well, we'll see you in the next one then.
Yes, definitely. Most definitely.
Thank you, Henna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you to our listeners. And stay tuned.
See you later.
See you later.